It's 4:20, folks. It's 4:20. Where are you? What do you say we get started with some music? Like the show if you haven't already. Let's get started. Any requests? How is your evening drive? That's the new comment. How is your evening drive? Oh, there we go. We're on. Hey, awesome. Hi. Sorry, man. New system.
Was here
It's the weekend, folks. Let's get this started. How are you? Sorry for the different time. I thought we'd try different things. 420 Fridays. Tell me, how does that sound? Obviously, lots of people don't know about the time change, so do we keep it at 420 Fridays? It kind of rolls off the tongue, and I like it, but people got used to 2 p.m., so I'm just wondering if it fucks up people's schedule, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the whole mix between Facebook and YouTube. What it is that I noticed is because Facebook, whenever we do a live stream, Facebook cuts you off after usually about an hour, 15 minutes type of thing. Let's say between 50 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes. It's a bit of a pain in the ass because the show keeps going. So what it is that I was thinking, I tried for the first time to actually upload the entire 3-hour plus show from YouTube onto Facebook and just do a watch party. And hey, honestly, it comes out to about the same thing. So I'm just wondering if it's even worth doing the live side of things on Facebook if we have to go through all of those troubles, Just upload it later, people can watch it, and maybe do a watch party instead. Let's move on to music. I see that you guys are asking for progressive and krautrock, and you know what? I think I could do both progressive and krautrock. 420 Friday puts me in a certain mood, and I think probably more important than anything is the collective mood. I mean, you can't talk for everybody because, as Loverboy knows, everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody. But a lot of us are not working for the weekend. And it's happy time. It's time you spend with your family. It's time you spend with your records. You have a drink and you kind of let go a little bit. Recharge your batteries for the week that's coming. So, yeah. I like to be able to spend Fridays with you and listen to some music. 420 kind of put me in a mood, so why don't we play something off the new Boris album? It's a double LP called Love Evol. Okay, so basically love and love spelled backwards. It's a 2 LP set that came out a few weeks ago on Third Man Records. Boris from Japan have been doing this a whole while. I would say at least 20 years. And, they're one of the progenitors of post-rock. And I think we're going to probably go in that direction a little bit. The jackets are gorgeous, okay? The slabs are really nice, and it's a nice solid set. We do have it in the shop. I would ask you guys just to have a look at the shop. It's not ready yet. We're really right in the middle of putting all of that together, but it doesn't stop you from basically scrolling if you want. I mean, there's 847 pages to scroll through. There's like 17,000 records, and we're adding so many more. So let's do some Boris. The double LP is there, out on Third Man Records. It may still be in the new arrivals, not certain, but how many of you are familiar with Boris already? Tell me what you think of the vibe. Do we keep going that way? Because I got a lot of heavies here, including the styles that you're asking for. Let's do this. Hi. I knew it would get really loud, so I had to do preparations. I can't really listen to the show through my headset because it's too loud, especially if I'm going to play this kind of music. I'll blow out my ears. But it's better for me to be able to gauge my voice. You don't care about that, right? It's not interesting. So let's continue our 420. I've got a bunch of heavier stuff, but I am looking at your questions. So how are you liking the new time? Is it more convenient, less convenient? Feel free to let me know. I can go back to 2 p.m. starts without a problem. I know that that's what you guys are used to, but 420 Friday kind of sounds good. And what made me think that it's at least worth trying is I'm trying to think of you guys, right? Maybe driving through traffic or that kind of thing. And, you just kind of flip on YouTube and you're able to listen to it in your car. Well, I mean, I guess for newer cars, right? So that's kind of what it is that I had in mind. So that when I tell you, I ask sincerely from my heart, how's your evening commute? You'll be able to tell me for sure. Well, no, not really, because you're not supposed to be texting on the road. So maybe it would kill the conversation part of this completely. I don't know, but we're going to try. So I guess I'm going to answer a question, or I'm going to answer a couple of questions here. Pedro Ronalds asks, where do you get the records from? Like, do you test them and post them in the store? Pedro, all of the records in the store, vinyljunkies.store. Go visit, man. There's a lot of stuff. I would imagine, as a record nerd, it probably being a pretty fun thing to do to just scroll through these records one by one as you listen to the show, because you know that you're talking to, the person who put all of this together for you. So if you actually see an album, feel free to ask me and I'll answer the question in real time, or maybe even play you a track. About where the records come from, a bunch of places. Listen, I buy a lot of records, but we receive a lot of promo also. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I mean, there's never not been a time when I love music, so people have given me free shit all the time. Now, of course, because of Vinyl Junkies, there's like 140,000 of you, so I think that everybody wants people to know your music, and they know that I like it enough to post it, play it, and tell you about it. I mean, that's what this is about. So a lot of the promo comes in. Does that stuff go into the store? The answer is yes and no. Does my personal copy go into the store? No. My personal copy, my promo copy, goes into the VJ archive, which is what you see behind you. And that's what it is that we use to put together a program like this. But everything in the store is brand new. Okay, and like I said, we're about 16 or 17,000 deep in terms of the store quantity right now. We're going to update that every single day. So you guys are going to get the freshest fucking releases all the time, and I'm always going to put them in the new arrivals and play them in the show as much as I can, and really try to give you guys as much vinyl news and music news as I can, and hang out. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works out. Okay, so what I have is generally what you're going to see in the VJQC store, which we just begun populating. If you see a VJQC score next to it, it means that I've have the record myself, and I've tested it for, just basically the quality of the physical aspect. 90 and up is generally very good in terms of scores, like we're talking about cosmetic. Once it starts hitting, high 80s, I'm comfortable. Lower than that, it starts getting a little more complicated. I will get to your other questions. I do see them, but why don't we move on to another long track from Yob. This might be their second record? Their second record on Metal Blade, The Unreal Never Lived. And this was when Yob came onto my radar. I don't remember what this is. It has to be in the 90s or something. Listened to it and was summarily blown away. And that early in time, it should have maybe 2001. I don't remember exactly when, but the term stoner rock or the term doom or any of that wasn't really very much a thing when I started listening to this. So it's pretty funny that now, Yob has become one of who would be the big four of doom, right? You know how it is that we have the big four of metal, which would be, of course, Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer, right? So if we had to call the big four of doom, who would it be? I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head, Sleep has to be there. I'm thinking Yob has to be there as well. Why don't we think about a little bit more? Maybe Electric Wizard, since they were really kind of early on, or are they too cult? I don't know. I guess it could be an interesting conversation. We'll move on to some other stuff. For now, I'm going to play you the song that really put me on the path towards Yob, to which I'm still a rabid fan. Check it, man. The Unreal Never Lived. Sorry. This is the title track called Quantum Mystic. Yeah, man. Just checked in the back. Out in 2004, released by Metal Blade Records. I had bought it originally on vinyl. Not on vinyl, I bought it on CD, actually. I had all of the Yob on CD, and then eventually just switched over to vinyl. But this was really the one that I wanted the most. And I know that it has been reissued, but not in huge quantities. And, I mean, I guess Yob now, what is it? It's 15 years. It's got to be even longer. It's got to be nearly 20 years that they've been going at it. And the later stuff, I mean, is just incredible. It's clear, there's an evolution there. But that early stuff, man, wow, was it heavy. It crushed. And it's still the stuff I think that I'm probably drawn to most. How's everybody doing, folks? We're going to keep doing 420 Friday. Have you checked out vinyljunkies.store yet? Have you seen anything that caught your eye? Let me get to some questions here, and then we'll get to a track from High on Fire, the album Der Vermis Mysterious, which came out in 2011 or 12 or something like that. So now we get to the questions. Let's see. Thoughts on the Swans, Paul, Alabama. I love the Swans. I mean, I'm a late comer to the Swans, which is to say that I wasn't an original fan before they kind of took a break and then came back with the album, My Soul Would Guide Me Like a Rope of Sand Up to the Sky or something. I don't remember the exact name of the album. I think that was their comeback record. So that's kind of when it is that I got into them, and everything past that. I have, what the hell do I have? I've got 2 or 3 of their records. And, I mean, I always look for more. There's no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, I keep hearing that the new one sounds pretty great. And I will definitely pick it up at some point, But it's one of those things where there's so many records you can pick up. There's really so many records you can pick up. And, musically I wind up going here and there. Actually, it's something that I thought about that's... I don't know if it's a sad thing or if it's an exciting thing, but doing Vinyl Junkies, I'm in records all the time. Basically, I'm in music all the time. That is the point. And to me, that's the dream, right? To be able to do this and speak to you guys about these records so that you guys have an idea of what to expect before you hit the record store. Or, even if, like I've said, just our interaction here, this cool vibe that we're establishing, if that's your kind of the first story or the first memory that you attach to a new record, I think that that's a good thing. It's going to take time to establish that, but eventually it will. Oh, I know one of you will absolutely find The Return of Bruno at one point, and then we got a thing going. You understand? So there's a plan being hatched here. What that has to do with the Swans is absolutely nothing, and I did lose my train of thought, as I do very often. So I really like the fact that music is my co-pilot, because music never aggravates me, and it bails me out every time. So now it's probably time to stop talking and listen to the Mighty Pike. mighty Pike. Let him have his say. Thanks, Pike. I met him on this tour, actually, in Holland. They were doing a sleep reunion, and this album was coming out at the time, so got to see him play Sleep Dope Smoker in its entirety, and it was absolutely amazing. For those of you that were paying attention, Anthrax made an appearance. He's getting lonely. I guess it's supper time. It's supper time, so he's probably crying for supper right now, and he made it be known. I thought that he'd like being up here, because cats always like being on stuff, but I've kind of, discouraged him, water bottles and that kind of thing, and yelling at him. Yelling doesn't work as well as it does with dogs. Dogs, you kind of give them a bad tone. Who's been a bad boy, right? And they know, and they feel shame. Cats don't give a fuck. But I figured, he'd make me look good. Look, King Anthrax over here. Oh, that's why I should watch this show. This VinylJunkies.store show, this VJ Radio, what differentiates it is the fact that he has a cat sidekick. I didn't say it would be a good idea, but I said it was an idea. So I put him up here, and what he did was he fell directly on the light, and all of a sudden we're casting a shadow because he busted the light. Correction, I busted the light. So that's what you do. That's what happens to you when you try to hurt a cat. I'm going to play some Chelsea Wolfe next. This is an older one. I don't remember. Actually, this album is called Apocalypsis, is what it's called. But it's kind of like spelt with other calligraphy. I don't know if it's an ancient language or if it's something she made up. But Chelsea Wolfe always has this mystique around her that, I don't know, to me comes off a little bit contrived, and it's kind of annoying. It's particularly annoying on the album Pain is Beauty. That one, I find she just sounds like the entire... She sounds like Bambi dying in the fucking Emerald Forest. And didn't do it for me. But then the record after that I really dug. So we're going to listen to some Chelsea Wolfe, a song called Demons, 4th track, side 1. Look for Apocalypsis in the store, or actually just look for Chelsea Wolfe. Let me know if she's in there. Wolf with an E at the end. Still my favorite Chelsea Wolfe album, Apocalypsis. Is it available in the store? I don't know. I don't even know if it's out of print or not. So I'm assuming that those are things that I'm going to start keeping up on a lot more. I like sharing this information. I don't know. I find it fascinating. I'm sure that I'm not the only person who either worked in a record store before or wanted to work in a record store. You see, in my particular case, I understand the appeal of working in a record store very much, and I never have. But that's because I have a shitty personality. So people get me on my nerves, and the police would be called after 20 minutes because I don't like people. But this here is a virtual shop. So it's an independent store, and here you are. You're in it right now. Welcome. Visit VinylJunkies.store if you want to go through the stacks, see what we have available, and I'm going to play music and read your comments. So people like Melinda have something to do while they're driving through traffic. We are the antidote. This is the vinyl antidote to road rage, is what it is that I'm saying. And it's on that note that I'm going to play you a track off my favorite Afghan Whigs record, 1992's Gentleman, masterpiece, and very likely my favorite record from the 90s. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times I've played to the CD. When I switched over to vinyl, I made it one of my first missions to get myself a copy, and I do have a copy. It came with a poster that's similar to that, which I put on my wall, which is right there. Because I want my room to reflect rock and roll, and I want the posters to actually mean something. So I understand that taking the posters out of your records is kind of like, tacking them on the wall. You're going to put holes in them, and it's going to destroy the value of your record. The value of your record is enjoying it. So I don't understand people who buy toys and keep them in the box. Like, I don't get that. Take them out of the fucking box and play with them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I got some posters. everywhere. I got an autographed Lemmy poster right there from the time I met him, and it's got staple holes all over it, so I can't ever roll it up and just keep it all pristine, and I think that, Lemmy would probably appreciate that. Was it this record? No, it wasn't this record. I have a Greg Dooley story, but it wasn't from this record. I'm going to wind up playing so much Craig Dooley, though. I'm a big fan of all of his projects, and just to say, we'll be doing some Mark Lanegan also. So we're going to play something off Blues Funeral right after that. For now, here's a track off Gentleman. Forgetting how all the years go. All of a sudden, I feel like listening to some Steely Dan. Oh, they're really in the year. Steely Dan is one of those bands that I had no appreciation for when I was younger. Even when I thought I was listening to cool music, because it was all like so white. And now I have an appreciation for. So after this many years of being on planet Earth, I finally should probably get around to getting myself a copy of Aja. I don't have it. But you know what I do have? I got a good collection of Mark Lanegan records, like an entire box set, all his Sub Pop years, and this one, which was released, I believe, on Anti Records. No, 4AD, double album that came out in 2014, I believe. Long time, man. Holy fuck, 2012. I bought it when it came out. All the years are going by, and all of a sudden Steely Dan songs are running through my head again. But instead, we're going to listen to one from Mark Lanegan called St. Louis Elegy, which contains probably my favorite lyric from him. Listen to it if you don't know it, and if you do, mention it in the comments. But just listen to it, listen to the words, and guess. See if you can guess what that lyric is. It's so poignant to me. But you be the judge for yourself. It kind of, I go against it all the time, but I gotta be honest. Every time I do a show, I think to myself, well, this stuff's not upbeat and it goes everywhere. I wonder if people like it or if it's just turning people off. This is kind of dark and somber. Is that where you want to be on a Friday? But then again, it's kind of like, I don't know. This is where it went, man. Sorry. I don't want to work. I want does everything have to be a reiteration of wanting to bang on the drum all day? Maybe you can, I don't know, it just feels like night music, so why am I playing it now? I don't know. But somehow, all of a sudden I'm in a little bit of that contemplative thing because, well, singing and songwriting is definitely Mark Lanegan and Greg Dooley of the Afghan Whigs forte. So it made me think of Tom Waits, who, holy moly, man, tells a story with a song, I think, just about as well and as effectively as anybody, and is just a well of of creativity. And he's become this kind of like cranky old kook right now, which is great. I love it. It's just... But he started off as just a really quiet kind of troubadour / singer-songwriter, and Closing Time is really a record that holds it. Fuck, man, I can't tell you how many times I've played it, but I love it. And I'm picking a bunch of songs that require you to listen to the lyrics, and I'm thinking again, Friday is probably the worst time to do any of that because everybody's hustling and bustling, and no one's just kind of like sitting down and actually listening to lyrics, but... What do you want me to tell you? That's where the show went. I'm going to play you a song called Martha, the last song on the first side, which it's about him calling an old girlfriend out of the blue. And after 20 years, and not admitting it at the beginning, but by the end of the song, admits that he's held the torch for her for all of these years, and I get goosebumps thinking about it because I can imagine myself driving home late night during those, back in the days when I was a financial advisor, coming back late night from an appointment with a client and listening to this in my car, which isn't vinyl, and creating a certain mood because I'd always be driving at around midnight or 11 o'clock at night. I'd be driving late. So this was a soundtrack for a lot of that. But it was the soundtrack of, now I'm coming home so that I can rest and start over the next day. A come down track. So here I am. I'm doing everything that I can to lose listeners as quickly as I can by playing come down tracks. Listen to Martha. The lyrics are amazing.
Operator, number please. It's been so many years. She remembered my old voice while I fight the tears. Hello, hello, there is this Martha, this is old Tom Frost. And I am calling long distance. Don't worry about the cost. 'Cause it's been 40 years or more now, Martha, please recall. Meet me out for coffee, where we'll talk about it all. And those were days of roses, poetry and prose, and Martha, all I had was you, and all you had was me. There was no tomorrows, we packed away our sorrows, and we saved them for a rainy day. And I feel so much older now, and you're much older too. How's the husband, and how's your kids? You know that I got married too. Lucky that you found someone to make you feel secure. 'Cause we were all so young and foolish, and now we are mature. And those were days of roses, poetry and prose, and Martha, all I had was you, and all you had was me. There was no tomorrow, we packed away our sorrows, and we saved them for a rainy day. And I was always so impulsive, I guess that I still am. But all that really mattered then was that I was a man. I guess that our being together was never meant to be. And Martha, Martha, I love you, can't you see? And those were days of roses, poetry and prose, and Martha, all I had was you, and all you had was me. There was no tomorrows, we packed away our sorrows, and we saved them for a rainy day. And I remember quiet evenings, trembling close to you.
That song brings emotion every time. I think anybody that listens to this in the right frame of mind and has ever carried the torch for somebody that they're not with right now would relate immediately to it. But it just... what a deeply just impactful song. I mean, the man's a master. What else is there to say? So yeah, that's the last song on side one of Closing Time. The actual song I was looking for was The Piano Has Been Drinking, but I guess I don't remember what album it's on. That's a pretty good song too, you know. He knows how to paint the picture, right? Hey, should I go pull out some Leonard Cohen? I mean, that would fit right now as well, right? Instead, I did pull actually from the stacks, a promo record that came out a few years ago, which I'm going to show you right now. By the way, have you liked our show yet? Give the show a like, man. Subscribe. Robin, it's nice to see you. We did a 420 showtime start. I'm just playing around with things. So how's this time for you? Does it work? So 420 Friday. Maybe it'll stick around and maybe not. So I'm going to read you the notes to Jazz for Hi-Fi Lovers, which was a reissue that came out last year from Modern Harmonica, a label I like very much, a reissue label that I like very much. They're really good with their hype stickers and, make it real easy to read. So why don't I read you this? A smart set of fine beat-era jazz, beautifully programmed and compelled for the hi-fi in your home, includes some top players of the era, Zoot Sims, Paul Conchette, Gene Roland, and others, in selections suited for a swingin' starlit session. Don't miss Garcia and Quill's If I'm Lucky, I'll Be the One of the most exquisite alto sax ballads ever captured on tape. Jazz for Hi-Fi Lovers, from the original mono reels and pressed on colored vinyl. Start Here says it all as both the perfect way to start this LP and the perfect way to start your jazz collection. From the distinctive style and touch of Randy Weston on the keys to the tenor tones of Paul Conchette, blows, these are the tracks to let your hi-fi strut its stuff. A virtual greatest hits of 50s jazz from the Dawn Records catalog. We're going to listen to a track by Randy Weston from the time, who's, had a very long and distinguished career. I have a bunch of his CTI records, but I do have him as a session player in a bunch of other things. He's got a track on this one here, which is called... What is his Randy Weston? The track is called Loose Wig, off this comp, which may not be available anymore, but did come out last year on Modern Harmonica. Here's some Randy Weston for you jazz bows. My turn. Yeah. So that was Randy Weston. I got another track lined up. Here I am. The records are starting to pile up. I hate having that happen. It just, I hate seeing piles like this. So I'm frantically trying to do too many things at once and kind of like put these records away at the same time. Never a good idea, but those of a certain vintage will probably get the feels, the nostalgic feels, once I play this one for you. If you don't know it already, tell me what it reminds you of, okay? Some of you will know right away. And those of you that see this record anywhere, just remember the record with a football, because it sounds like this, man. Should be said, though. It's not going to be for everybody, because I had a friend who came over, and I played it for her, and she said, I'm not really feeling this, take it off. And I was very offended by that, but that's what I wound up doing. I hope you guys feel a little different. Ding, ding, ding. Melinda for the win. Yeah, man, that's Angela. The theme to Taxi. What a great show that was. I wonder if it's just because we grew up in the 70s that we thought those shows were great. So there's always kind of like that lens of nostalgia that makes stuff that sucked really, really good to us now. I mean, Team Bruno, you know what I'm saying? It's like the 80s have made quite the comeback. So I wonder if the 70s is the kind of the same thing, because I remember, I guess it's just that was considered kind of like cheese jazz. That was considered the end of jazz, man. Musicians like critics, jazz critics like Stanley Crouch hated shit like this. I like it, and it stood the test of time, that's for sure. Bob James records are highly collectible. This one is one of the better ones. A lot of iconic covers, so whenever you see a Bob James record, take a chance on it. Usually they're not that expensive. You find them used, and they're always worth taking a chance on. I pick all of them up. I'm pretty close to having everything that was released on CTI. This is Tapan Z, which was Bob James' own label, but still the records came out, with the gatefold, exactly like, they followed exactly like the CTI standard. So folds out into a big football, and this is basically the CTI formula of making records. Who wanted krautrock? Somebody wanted krautrock. I'll do that. I'm going to play you some more modern krautrock from the 2000s. A group called In Musikgruppe Luxor. I don't remember. It's a side project of a metal stoner band. I don't remember exactly which one, but it's quite trippy, quite amazing. So I thought I'd play that for you. I don't know how many records they have. I do have the first two. This was a Zwart release, so for our European friends, you might have better luck finding these records overseas than you would here in North America. Forget finding them new. I'd put stuff like this up in the store immediately if it was available new, because it's great. Zwart make great records. They are very well pressed. They sound nice, and they actually care very much about, the way it is that they curate their catalog. They don't necessarily go for what's popular. They go for what they like, so they'll take chances because it's a record label from Finland. They are on the forefront of Finnish jazz and Finnish prog rock, and they released a bunch of stuff from bands that used to be only the domain of collectors once upon a time, like Wigwam, and now, are a bit more widely available to a small audience, but I am that small audience. Here's some Musikgruppe Luxor. 12 minutes. Strap in. I would say that Robin Mowax is very correct in saying that it's got a Tangerine Dream vibe to it. That was Musikgruppe Luxor. Or Luxor Music Group. No, Musikgruppe Luxor. I don't remember. They're a side band of a doom stoner band. I wish I could remember now. I guess I'd have to read the liner notes. I was going to play some Klaus Schulze for you. Mundan, but I wanted something a little bit more dynamic, so all of a sudden, Robin Mowax, who really always somehow comes up with the goods, led me in a direction that makes a lot more sense. I'm going to play you Song 1, Track 2 off Tangerine Dream, one of their big records. This must be 73, 74, a record called Phaedra. Huge record that, if you like that kind of trippy, dreamy, stony music, you want it. It's krautrock, you know? And I'll play you Song 2, Side 1, and I figured that would, I don't know, scratch 2 itches. It scratches the itches of guys like us who collect every one of these records, and it's like, man, yeah, it's going to feel good to listen to this because we like it, right? And we're able to bond over these records that we love. And it serves for people who don't know it to be able to say, now, oh, you know what? Sam played some Tangerine Dream for me during VJ Radio, so now at least I know, I have an idea of what Tangerine Dream sounds like. So if I come across the record, I have an idea. You should know, though, that Tangerine Dream became a completely different entity as they rolled into the 80s. They did a lot of soundtrack, like a fuck ton of soundtracks, and went very synthy, even new agey. That's not a bad thing. I like all of that, but it is not the same sound. So that big, heavy krautrock, drony sound is was replaced with a much cleaner, more surgical, pristine type sound. This is I wouldn't say dirty, but this one should make your mind fuzzy. So if you want to enhance, this is probably the time. It's a long one, man. Listen to it. Yeah. How about that? That was Tangerine Dream. Wasn't it wonderful? Mysterious Semblance at the Strand of Nightmares. Don't remember if this album is 73, 74, but thanks for name dropping Robin Mowax with what we played right before that, Musikgruppe Luxor. I guess it's a pretty easy name drop to make. That all of a sudden just gets me a little bit into my krautrock piles. Maybe I'm being a little paranoid, but I'm already getting kind of like a copyright message on my streaming software, so I'm wondering if we should cut off at the 2 hour mark just to kind of make it more consistent. If you guys want to tell me whether you prefer 2 p.m. starts or 4:20 starts, either works for me. 2 p.m. works better, but 4:20, it's just kind of fun to be able to say, hey, 4:20 Friday. It's very easy to remember the time from then on. Even if you are in a different time zone, you're kind of just going to figure it out. Oh, it's 4:20 where that dumbass lives. Where I live, it's 10:20 p.m., like if you're in Europe or something. I realize this. I've taken geography courses. So why don't we play some Noi? I'll play you a track called Hallo Gallo, which I believe is the first track on side 2. I believe Noi might be available. I'm not sure if it's available yet in the store. Like I said, we're really right in the middle of populating things. I should tell you that we put up the shipping rates. I put up the shipping rates yesterday, and we're going to be shipping throughout most of Europe, and we're going to be shipping throughout all of North America and Mexico. And the shipping rates have dropped. The shipping rates in some cases have dropped considerably. So I think you guys are going to be happy there. You're going to get a whole lot more bang for the buck. The prices are absolutely as competitive as everywhere else, kind of thing. So I'm excited to be able to open up the big store. If you guys check out the VJ Radio tab, that's where it is that you're going to see the shows with playlists. Once the shows are over, I'm going to add the playlist. If the record is for sale in the store, I'll add a buy link so that you guys can go, kind of just connect the dots for you. And we'll go one step further. How many of you guys Spotify? Spotify. If you Spotify, why don't you look for Vinyl Junkies CO, either Vinyl Junkies or Vinyl Junkies CO, like .co. And we're there on Spotify. I'm going to be putting up the playlists, and going one step further than that, I realized I did it for the first time actually just earlier this week, but I thought there would be a problem uploading these episodes to podcast on the various channels because of the music, but didn't seem to be the case at all. So last week's show, the entire thing, all 3 hours and 50 minutes of it, is now available on Spotify and iTunes and Apple and all the rest of these things. Wherever it is that you listen to your music, wherever it is that you stream your podcasts, it's available there. So subscribe, look for Vinyl Junkies. And hey, if you like the playlists, for example, if you like the music here, of course, you can listen to the show, and that's where it is that we kind of like hang out and we do the back and forth thing. But if you're more in the mood to just listen to a playlist, the playlists are going to be there too. I'm going to compile all of that for you after the fact. So check. I'm going to make this the last song of the day and wish all of you a fantastic Friday, a fantastic weekend. And thanks for tuning in, man. Subscribe to the channel. Please give us a like if you enjoyed the show, and visit vinyljunkies.store. You're going to dig it, man. Nice seeing you.